Today I'll show you how to migrate data out of Oracle and into CockroachDB using MOLT Fetch, which is available in public preview. I'll spin up a local instance of Oracle. It'll be Enterprise version 19, and I'll wait for it to come up. This will take about 5 minutes. Right, with that up and running, I'll hop onto the Oracle database via SQL+, create a user or schema, and grant it the privileges it will need. I'll create a table. This will be a simple bank transfer application, and I'll create a sequence and a before insert trigger. Now I'll start a workload against that table. This will simulate new accounts being set up and transfers being made between accounts. I'll hop out of the shell, hop onto the container, and this time log in as sysdba. And this time I'll run a bunch of commands. I'll enable archive log. I'll enable supplemental primary key logging. MOLT Fetch for Oracle uses log miner. I'll create a common user and grant it the permissions it needs. I'll configure a table for MOLT Fetch and grant privileges to the migration user against that table. And then I'll configure log miner. But first, we'll run this batch of commands. This will make the workload unhappy because part of this process is to enable archive logging, which in Oracle requires a restart. With that all configured, I'll configure log miner. So I'll hop back to my default DB container. I'll get my current snapshot or system change number, and then call the start log miner store procedure, passing that value that I just captured as the start system change number. Now we're ready to migrate to CockroachDB. So I'll start an instance of CockroachDB. I'll export my LD library path, which is a path to my local installation of the Oracle Instant Client. This is required by MOLT Fetch for Oracle because of the libraries we're using. And then I'll call MOLT Fetch. With this command, I connect to my source database as my migration user. Note that the ch part of that common user has been escaped, and I'm connecting to both of my multi-tenant containers. I connect to CockroachDB as my target database. My table handling method is to drop any source tables that exist on the target and recreate them. I'll load data from Oracle and then continue to replicate changes. I'll only synchronize data from the bank service schema. I'll perform a direct copy as opposed to writing to local CSVs or S3. For production use cases, you'll probably want to do the latter. I'll enable TLS mode disable because my local instance of CockroachDB is running insecure. Fine for demos, not fine for production. I'm not going to use any compression. My local path for any transitory MOLT files will be here. I'll enable trace logging, and I'll only log to standard out as opposed to writing to a file. So that is all running now. If I open up another terminal to CockroachDB, note that I haven't had to create anything in CockroachDB myself. MOLT Fetch has automatically done that for me. And here I have a bank service.account. So if I select everything from that, we currently have 3,220 rows in the table. If I run the query again, we can see that all of the data in Oracle is being live migrated as the workload is running. I can also run MOLT verify. I'll set my local LD library path again, but this time run MOLT verify, targeting the same source database as before, the same target database as before, allowing insecure connections and filtering out stuff that I don't care about. Basically, I just want the summary. And what this is showing me is there are 3,750 total rows in Oracle, of which 3,740 of them are completely fine and exist exactly as expected in CockroachDB, while 7 of them are missing. And this is simply because we haven't replicated those rows yet, and 3 of them are mismatched. And that's simply because after we replicated that row to CockroachDB, it was then updated in Oracle. To get a consistent view of things between both databases, we'll have to stop the workload temporarily. And if we run MOLT verify again, we now have 4,223 rows in Oracle, of which we have 4,243 matching rows in CockroachDB. And this will be for any tables that we are replicating from the bank service schema. That was MOLT Fetch and MOLT verify for Oracle. It's currently in public preview, so available for you to play with. In order to get the data load and continuous replication that I showed, you'll need both the MOLT and replicate binaries, both of which are available for download from our website.